So I'm just finishing my game as Aztecs, and I achieved what I wanted to do to get the Sunset Invasion achievement. So I'm just 2 months from the end game. So here it is. I'm a great power with the most development, nearly 3000. As you can see, for example, Ottoman still hasn't embraced enlightenment, even at end game. In Europe I did very little actually, only part of Iberia, Rome, Amsterdam, and Paris, and a bit more in the Great Britain. The main reason was that there was strong opposition, because in my game, when I first came, I attacked firstly the Great Britain area and was successful taking some land. Afterwards I went for Portugal, and at that point France invaded Spain and took a lot of land. I also took that as an advantage and also attacked Spain and took some. This is not all in one war, but at that point I realized that France is very strong, with usually with at least 100,000 men strong army, so it wasn't easy. I got an alliance with Austria and Hungary. Hungary in my game is actually quite strong. They also have Russia as vassal, and it has been so for quite a long time. And at one point, after I made my initial gains, Scandinavia made a personal union with France, so it made it even harder. And Netherlands, from which you have to take Holland, Amsterdam, also is always an ally of Scandinavia, so it's a very hard alliance to break. After I got my achievement, and I think Paris was the last one. Paris and Amsterdam, I took it in the same war. Afterwards, those wars became harder and harder, and my last war was just some years ago. Well, the truce has ended, but the end result was I ended in a small victory with like around 20 war score. I took some of these Caribbean islands I didn't have yet from them. It's just a small victory, and in the process I also got we bled for this achievement where you have more than 1,000,000 deaths on both sides. So it was a very bloody war where everyone loses all their manpower and everything. So the Europe invasion was too hard to conquer most of this area. Of course, it depends a lot on the ideas you take and actually the situation, because you might come to Europe and see that France has been broken up or something. So it really depends on the game itself. So I also received, of course, the Sunset Invasion achievement, and also gained these gold achievements, nothing too special. So, and also why the wars have been so hard, you get with rapid expansion you get quite a bit of religious unity penalties. I have been at 60, 70, 80 at most for quite a bit of time, so it's it's difficult. Uh, Also, to minimize this, I did take quite a few of cultures, and uh, I mostly took the ones that I conquered, especially those in the colonial regions. So can see I have quite a bit of French, English, Portuguese, uh, English, especially in the beginning of the game. So that's quite beneficial. Also, of course, you could switch to Christianity, because you get this decision as soon as you conquer Christian provinces. But uh, I decided not to, because the religion itself has some very good bonuses. These are the bonuses just for the religion. Moral of armies and unrest is very good. Missionary strength also helps. But you also get these. For example, monthly war exhaustion minus 0.5 is very useful. Discipline plus 5%. Stability cost modifier your colonists. Diplomatic relations only helps really in the early game when you have to take all those vassals. But these all everyone else are very useful in the whole game, especially in the late game when you have lots of wars and you have to every bit counts. So for ideas, definitely not the best set of ideas you could take, but since with this big enemy, I I took 4 that deals with military. So of course, the Dutch or French were still a bit stronger than me, but the difference was very small, because if you get a 3-star general, you could easily, with larger stacks, you could easily totally destroy 20, 30, even 40, and sometimes maybe even up to 50 unit stacks. You could shatter them completely. So and this is also because the Aztecs have the combat ability plus 10%, as well as that discipline from religion. But what these ideas lack is that I had quite a bit of issues during the mid game with money. Also could have used more of it for to expand faster. I definitely could have played more aggressively, especially in the Americas. So because the most of North America was still not mine, so it really depends a lot on the tactics, but those ideas can be very very painful if you take the wrong ones. So when I played, I did quite a few restarts, and I wanted to make the reforms as fast as possible. I did take 1 or 2 provinces before or during the reforms. So, for example, to take gold, and now you can see at this point I have done all the reforms, and I just lack the last press of a button. I tried to annex them and start to slowly colonize towards South America. I did take leave two of them as vassals and annex them later. So the first to arrive will be the English, which I got quite lucky that they landed in over here, which is very close. I will be taking this tribe with the colonial conquest against primitives, CB. So I'm really next to them, and I could get the last reform as fast as possible. There seems to be some kind of bug that doesn't recognize the colonial nation. You can see also the France takes the Caribbean region, so it really became a problem that I couldn't take it because France was so strong. With I did fight the British when they actually attacked me, but I got lucky that at the same time there was this the religious league war in Europe, so they were quite occupied at the time, so I could take all of this without any problems. So that was a big step for me. So then I started I also moved in a bit in here. And I'm also at the moment thinking of going to Europe now. And as you can see, yes, I took Northern Ireland first, and so that I have like a staging area. I also took Portugal, a region in Portugal, so I can attack from here onwards. So I can see France is already very big and powerful, so not an easy enemy. And then there was the first war with the Spain, and later they went for another. And in the meantime, I took some more from the Brits. Now I took and also took some from Spain. I sort of got lucky that they only had like a 40 stack over here, and they got stuck over here and didn't came to help with like 50 or 60,000 men. Also moved more to the UK, very close to London now, and you can see now the big push from the French. So the Spain were shattered. I also took some more land. I still didn't have the Imperial CB, so just took Toledo. I finally took London and Lisbon, so I'm going towards my goal. Took Madrid from Spain. Rome is going to be next, and just have Paris and Amsterdam left. Took a bit more from Spain, because Spain was an easy picking. I did release Catalonia, so because there was the risk of too much aggressive expansion, so I didn't want to get too much big coalition against me. So now I made the push and got the achievement, so I still had at least 50 years left. Took a bit more from here. I will take a bit more from Spain, but that's more or less actually it in Europe. I then switched more back to taking back these colonies. I did take Brazil and Burgundy in the end, and parts of Britain, Brazil as well. Brittany was quite often allied with French or Netherlands as well, so it was a hard opponent. So with too many alliances. And as you can see, I even had an occurrence when the Ottomans, as a great power, intervened in our wars in Europe. So we had like 400,000 in total against 700 or something. So uh, these were long and bloody wars, and just couldn't really do much about them. So, but I got the achievement. As you can see, the colonial nations quite expanded quite a bit over here, so I didn't take much of North America. I could have, of course, could have done more, colonized more, like the shore, so they won't be able to come in here. But as I said, the money was an issue, so I should have uh, taken different ideas, I suppose. Uh, it's not an easy start. For example, in another game where I played as Spain, I just at the end game I just had too much money. I just didn't had a place to spend it. So the achievement itself isn't too hard, but it's definitely a challenge. So, but I got it, as well as a few others, but nothing too special. So at the end, uh, the Ottomans and Ming were the largest armies in the world. As you can see, France is at 200,000. Uh, a lot of mercenaries, but still, France is always a strong military country. Luckily, I had Hungary, and Austria is missing somewhere, as my allies, as well as Russia, which were in the union with Hungary. So those helped a lot. Also, at the end of the game, Ottomans were allied with the Ming, so I didn't see them fighting in here, but they definitely were attacking Russia. So Russia was also occupied with them, so they couldn't help us or help us fighting in here. So next I might try some of the North American tribes, but still thinking on what to do. So the Sunset Invasion achievement, it's not impossible. It's not probably not the hardest one, I would say. I had quite a few restarts to do because of bad start with not doing the reforms fast enough, but afterwards it was easier and not that hard. But I did make copies of saves, so I could, in case something really terrible happens, I could go back uh, 10-20 years and play again. So especially in the late game with the religious problems and all the wars and the colonial nations attacking me, so I'm fighting in two fronts, in Europe and in colonies, where actually my home provinces are. So there were lots of rebels, and so I did actually had to load as well back. So when my country was totally broken apart by rebels, which were also caused by bankruptcy in the meantime, so it definitely wasn't that easy.